Hi, welcome to Houston to LA. I'm Patricia Tone, and today's topic is practice that talent that you hate doing. Practice that talent that you have that nobody else can really do like you. Do that. You are going to need that talent. God gave you that talent for a reason, and you're going to have to use it, whether you like it or not. You're going to have to use it. You are. I learned how to do hair when I was about 10, 11 years old because my mother was in cosmetology school. She and her friends used to practice on me and my siblings. And so in that, they began to teach me as well. At the time, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I loved doing hair. I loved learning, and I was good at it. I learned from the best. I am a hair care specialist, right? I know how to make your hair grow. I can get anybody's hair to grow. These hands right here are magical. They are magical. People didn't even want to get out the shampoo bowl when I shampooed their hair. People didn't really want to get out my chair because there's an energy that I possess in these hands, and I know I do. I didn't at one point want to do hair anymore. I got tired of people, well, I'm going to say new customers, new patrons, new clients. I got tired of the new people as the years went on, wanting discounts, wanting, a special, wanting something. And I was working at JCPenney's at the time. You had some people that would come in and try to scam you. Now, let me just say, this rarely happened to me. But the few itty bitty times that it did, it was annoying, right? I got tired of just standing up all day, all long. My feet hurt so badly when I would get home. Even though I loved doing hair, I didn't want to do it anymore. And people were like, "You're so good. Why you not? You gotta figure out a way to do it. You gotta do it." I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to do it." So I quit and started doing administrative work. That was a hard thing as well because I was doing it through the temp agencies, and you go to these companies, you have one person over there that don't like you. They call the agency and get you fired. I mean, people are just evil everywhere you go, every aspect of it, right? But every now and again, I'd be at a place for a while, a good length of time. Eventually, what happened is I got to a point where I wanted to start over in my life again. You're going to have those moments more than once in your life. So if you're a young adult, if you're a teenager, just get ready. You're going to want to start over at some point in your life more than one time. So I decided to leave LA. Biggest mistake I ever did. Biggest mistake. I don't know if I had a choice in the matter. I guess I did, but the stress of it all, I had just lost the job at a temp agency again. I was just tired, right? I was really tired of the shenanigans and the running through hoops for jobs and companies and everything. So I said, I'm going to go home, find a job, save up, and come back, right? That plan sounds logical. But what you don't understand is when you go back home, they don't give a damn. They don't care. You are now in the way. You are now in the way. They don't care about what you try and do with your life because they have their own lives. It's not going to work. I'm telling you now, it's not going to work. Do not do that for the majority of us. Okay, I ain't gonna say everybody. Don't do it. Don't do it. Figure something else out. So anyway, I went home, ended up working 3 places again, as if I was in LA. I was like, I could have stayed in LA for this. And I eventually was doing hair again at this store way out in the Southwest. I was cutting hair, just really men's haircuts at the time. And I was temping downtown and temping at different places, through the temp agency. Basically, a lot of the assignments at that time I had was with University of Houston. I was temping, for that campus. I eventually had to get my own place. So I was back at square one, and I was so upset. I was staying off Fondren in the Southwest, and I was renting an apartment, going to work, getting home in the middle of the night, late night. It's far from where I lived, and I was just so pissed off at myself for throwing in the towel so quickly in LA. Well, it wasn't quick, but just not sitting down and really trying to figure out a different plan. I did it for a year. A friend of mine from LA called and said he was in Vegas. And he said, look, I know you hate being out there. Now you're doing everything you were already doing in LA where you could have stayed there. But knowing that you don't want to be there, you can come live with me in Vegas. I got a spare room. And I said, nobody moves to Vegas. And I hung up the phone. We ended the conversation. I don't think I blinked my eyes 10 times, equivalent to 10 seconds, before I called him and said, I'm on my way. I was like, what the heck is wrong with you, girl? Get the F out of here. I put all my furniture, which wasn't a lot. I had a couch, had a little pull-out bed, table, TV, something else. I put it all on the sidewalk on Fondren. Off of, I don't know what street that was. Fondren. Where was I? Fondren, and not too far from Braeswood. Anyway, I put all my stuff on the sidewalk, and I sold everything in less than 2 hours for $350. Sold it all. I took that $350 and bought me a Greyhound bus ride. And I took the Greyhound to Vegas and moved to Vegas. And nobody knew. Baby, I was called all kind of psycho crazy names and everything. I didn't give a damn. I was gone. And I got in Vegas, and it was cool for a while. I was temping again. A friend of a friend worked at a temp agency, so I was able to get some temp work. And then that fell through. And then my friend's brother decided to move to Vegas, and they put me out the bedroom. And they put me in the living room. And I had an issue with that, because how you putting a female out of a bedroom into an open space in the living room. And then the guy's brother turned into the Wicked Witch of the West, and he was so nasty and mean to me. And every morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning, he decides he's hungry and he needs to cook. So that meant waking me up. And then when he cooked, he burning stuff. So now the whole area is full of smoke. I have to we got to open the front door. We got to turn off the fire alarm. I mean, I kid you not, every day. And so I just got fed up. So the talent that I didn't want to do anymore, I had to unlock that box again. I was so blessed in the fact that each state I was able to get my license without an issue. I was able to just pay the fees, get my license, and go straight to work, which is what I did. I got my cosmetology license for Vegas. I went to the mall because I knew they had a JCPenney's there, and I had worked at JCPenney's in LA, and I knew that I left on good terms and I could get rehired. But as I was going to JCPenney's, I saw a Regis there. And I stopped and I saw men and women working in there. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. Let me go investigate this, right? Turns out Regis had a higher percentage payout than JCPenney. So I went in, filled out the application at Regis, and I worked at Regis for 2 years or a year and a half. I think it was a year and a half. I had the most fun. I found clients that became really good buddies of mine, right? And this one girl, she was new to Vegas too, and she was by herself, and she was living in an extended stay motel. And the one she was in was right by the mall. And then it was refurbished, renewed, that redid it, reconstructed. So everything was in there brand smelly, stinking new, right? And so I went over there, and it was a black man at the time running it. And I just told him I need a place to stay and where I was working. And that man gave me them keys that day. I was so excited. And so I had a little studio, extended stay apartment right down from my girl, Keisha. And we became best buds. And I remember being so happy, so excited. And then our manager at Regis got fired or replaced. And the store was never the same. Then everybody started quitting and the customers started dissipating. I was like, no, not again, Jesus, not again. I don't want to be going through this again. And so I eventually walked on down to JCPenney, filled out the application, and the lady was like, yeah, we need some more people. And I started immediately. So now I was at JCPenney's. But the clientele wasn't the same. I eventually found a job, administrative job, working at a marketing company out in Henderson. It was far away, but there was a bus that went there. And I went and worked there. I enjoyed it for the most part, but again, I encountered a coworker who didn't like me. Now, I don't know if she just didn't like me. It was only one other black person there. It was a black guy in sales, and he had words to say about her as well. So I'll just leave it at that. But what happened, we had a shared Excel spreadsheet. She would go and change my numbers and play like I entered the wrong data. And so it took me a while to catch on. And then I started making copies of the entries that I did. And I would hide the copies. And so the next time that she tried to get me in trouble and say I entered the wrong data, I pulled out my spreadsheet, the copies of it. And she got caught red-handed. And she she left the company. Now, I don't know if they made her quit or if she got fired. All I know, she was gone, and I was so glad. But in all of that, I still wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I wasn't doing what I felt in my spirit to be doing, writing, producing, creating, directing, the stuff that's in my DNA. So I left and came back to Houston. But this time I had a plan. I said, okay, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back to college. And I got here. I was so depressed. depressed. I was so depressed. I slept on the floor in my mom's living room for months before I could even really go anywhere. And so finally God said, get your butt up and go enroll in school. And so I went online and enrolled to Houston Community College, Stafford. They had just started a broadcast technology department. I went and enrolled, and then I had energy again. I had life. I was learning and doing what I love to do. I didn't have to do hair anymore. But here's the funny thing. Well, it's not funny, but here's what happened. So that was 05, 06. I was still there. 06 is when Hurricane Katrina happened. All those people were brought to the George R. Brown Convention Center. And I went over there because everybody was saying how they, were donating clothes, they were donating this, and nobody was saying anything about their appearance. And I said, but they need somebody to do their hair, because they're relocating. They have to look for jobs. And I just saw a void in the process. So I went over there with my equipment, and the man, they brought me to an office upstairs, and they had me sitting there for a while, long time. But the man was nice, and the man understood, and he agreed. I was the one who brought in the beauty salon at the George R. Brown for Hurricane Katrina. He walked me around and he said, is this space over here good enough? I said, yeah. He said, what do you need? I said, I need a sink and water, electricity, a table, and a chair. He said, that's it. I said, that's it. I said, because I have a blow dryer. I just need a sink for them to lean back so that I could wash their hair. I started doing hair over there, and everybody was looking, and they were coming over, you by yourself? I said, yeah. I just started doing them one by one. And then pretty soon a lady walks over. She says, you need some help? I said, yeah. She said, I used to do hair in New Orleans. I'll shampoo the people for you. And that lady started shampooing, and it made the process go quicker. And the next day, I had people coming in there. I heard you needed some help over here. And if I tell you, it was a smothering amount of hairstylists all of a sudden. And we were in there doing people's hair, and they would bring supplies, some of them. Then we were coloring and perming and just doing everything. It was like a full-fledged salon. Problem. When you create stuff, other people want to take the credit. So some guy comes in. Now I'm only coming after school because I'm in class. And so I had made friends with this other girl, and she was managing it and looking after the place during the day. And she would call me if something was wrong. She was really, really nice. And so she calls me and say some guy was walking around and they were trying to move the salon. It had gotten too big because he was trying to bring in this and that. And I'm like, who is this guy? Right? So I get there, the man in charge of George R. Brown, he introduced me to the guy, and he's like, oh, you could do what? We could do this. We could bring in shampoo bowls over here and shampoo. I say, hold up. We don't need all that. We're just here to do basic stuff. This is not a salon. This is not a rental space. And so while I'm at school, this dude is steadily going to the administration, trying to take over the thing that I had created, trying to make it bigger and better. And I'm sitting there like, who gonna pay this water bill? Who gonna pay the electricity bill? Who gonna do? He was just, I had never been so livid, more livid than I was in all my life. And so I get the call the next day from the girl. She said, Patricia, you coming in today? I said, yeah, I'll be there late. She says, okay, because the Houston Chronicle came by to do a story on the person who started this. And I told them it was you because, everybody was trying to talk. And I told them, no, 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 no. Patricia Tone started this. She in school. She started this, and she's the one that brought all these people in. And she said that, so they said they were going to come back to talk to you and take pictures and do an article. She said they took a few pictures while they were here, but they said they're going to come back because they want to talk to you. I said, okay, I'll be there. And I came, and the guy did, or the girl, I think, I can't remember. I have to look at it. They did an article on me and put me in the Houston Chronicle. And then they have a picture of the girl that was my friend at the time. She has a shot in the article. Overall, I think we did about 400 people in a short amount of time because dude got us shut down, and they kept adding tables and stuff. And then it got to be too much. And then one night I get there and they had moved us all the way so far in the back that nobody even know we were there anymore. And so that was the last of it. And I can't tell y'all how upset I was. I cannot tell you how upset. But back to the moral of the story, that talent that you have, you must use it because it's always going to resurface. It's always going to come back up. And you have to make sure your skill set is still sharpened. Your irons are still sharpened in that talent that you have because God gave it to us for a reason. He did. And so that was one of my happy moments, my proud moments where I was able to utilize my talent to help people in need. I just remember them people were like, girl, you could do some hair. I even had men in there. I think the picture in the, one of the pictures in the Houston Chronicle was me with a guy. I was coloring his hair. So, I mean, I had men and women. They were in there, and I was like, they would come up. They said they had an interview. I was like, sit down. I got you. You're gonna get your hair done, and you're gonna get this job, and y'all are gonna recover from this natural disaster. Yeah, and so that was in 2006, and so I graduated from school in December 2006. I got hired as a part-time radio operator, board operator, at a radio news talk station. And I worked there until I left Houston again. Because while I was working there, I thought I was going to be okay. I had in school, I studied reporting, and I was president of the student association. I was co-anchoring because Karen didn't want to give up the spot. So because I had to co-anchor the Stafford News, but I was learning how to be a reporter. I had gotten an intern at NBC and work in the news desk and all of this stuff, and then getting a job at the news talk radio station. And, I was really learning a lot. All of a sudden, it was like God said, nope, you're not stopping here. You got to go on and get your bachelor's. And so I went online and I was looking up colleges, and Cal State LA was still accepting applications. And I was like, you're joking, right? Somebody is playing with me. Back to LA, you're joking, right? I write a letter to the president of the school. He actually got that doggone email. He gives it to the director of enrollment management services. Dr. Stops calls me and tells me he's going to help me get in school. And that man helped me get in school, helped me get housing, helped me with my grants. And I graduated. I moved back to LA. and graduated. That talent, you're going to have more than one. We always do. We always do. And where I thought I would be content or be happy trying to be a reporter, and then realizing after Hurricane Katrina, I ain't going to stand out there in no dang old storms and no natural disasters trying to report no weather and no news to y'all. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. But anyway, that wasn't the road. That wasn't the road. And so still today, you really don't know the road. But I have to say, I have worked in entertainment. I have learned a lot. I have done things on a national level that I would have never done if I would have stayed where I was. If I didn't listen to what God told me to do. I might, how can I say this? Sometimes you feel like a failure because you're not where you think you want to be. But I'm not a failure in what I've accomplished. I'm not. I've done more things than anybody else would ever imagine because I listened to the voice of God and stepped out on faith. And no, it hasn't been easy. Nobody's road has been easy. It's never easy. If it was easy, everybody could do it. But that talent, you have to do that talent. And so before I close, it's one guy I watch on TikTok, and dude used to do drawings commentating what's going on, and it would be so funny. He started off talking about like at his people at his job or people he knew and things like that. And he would draw the picture, and it would be a basic. Sometimes the drawing was a stick figure, but then he'd advance the drawing over here for something else. But he'd have like these stick figures, and then he just really started drawing more of a face and what the person would look like, a beard or whatever. And it was the best thing ever. And then people were like, dude, you need a coloring book. You need to do something with that talent. And he would just kind of blow it off, every now and again, he just blow it off when he felt like responding. But people we stayed on him like, hey, you got something here. And let me tell you, this last month, he put out a coloring book, and he sold out of that coloring book. He sold so many. Now he was tired of the dang on coloring book. You see how we get? We have the talent. We want to use the talent. We want to make money from the talent, and then you get tired of it. But he made an adult coloring book that people loved, and it was absolutely cute and hilarious. And he sold out of that coloring book. So that talent that get on your nerves, get on our nerves, you got to keep it sharp because it's going to come back. You're going to need to use that talent. And see, for me, another talent I have, what people say I have, I've always been like an announcer or doing announcements or being the host. And I did stand-up comedy and being in front of the camera. And that's why I wanted to be a reporter, because I loved being in front of the camera. Well, I got that from my grandfather. We used to always watch the news, and news reporters and anchors, he held in such high regards, and had so much respect for it. I think that's adapted into my spirit and energy. And I just always was good at it. I had a good memory, giving Easter speeches at church and things like that. And so once I realized I had all of that, I started doing more of it. And a lot of people would call my mom, hey, can Trisha come over here and do a speech? Can Trisha come, do the announcements? Can she come do this, and this? And then it just kept going and going and going. And then I used to want to be a talk show host, right? Everybody loved Oprah. Everybody wanted to be Oprah. But I also loved Donahue, Sally Jesse, Joan Rivers, all the other talk shows. There wasn't a talk show that I did not watch. Montel Williams. Trying to think of the other lady, black lady who had it. My brain is going too fast. Ricky Lake. Just everybody. I just used to watch all the talk shows. And I wanted to do that for late night. And of course, Arsenio Hall. You cannot leave him off the list. There would never be anybody like Arsenio. But now with social media, I get to use this talent again and just have conversations with the world if they care to watch. But either way, I still get to practice my skill set. I still get to do production, what I learned in school, camera setup, lights, sets, now hair and makeup, even though sometimes I'll be like, I can't do it all today. It's just going to be what it's going to be. And sometimes you just have to put the product out there and keep rolling because nothing is perfect. And it's a one-woman show over here. But I enjoy doing it. So you have to use that talent. And I want to say to parents, because like I have nephews that could draw, that had other unique skill sets. There's quite a few people in my family that could draw, but nobody, even my brother, but nobody allowed them to master it. And my brother was really good. And so my nephew is really good. And I remember my brother when he was I think he was in elementary school, and he painted a horse, and everybody was like, they put that sucker on display. Then he drew a picture, not painted, but drew a picture of my mom. And we were like, wait a minute, that boy. And then I have an aunt, she's good at drawing, but nobody allowed them to master the specialty talents, And I always was sad about that. So observe your kids and see what talents they have that you don't realize that they have, or just ask them what they're thinking about, what they like to do, and figure out what talent they have, because that could be the golden goose to them, and they could do wonderful things and could be, world known for some of the stuff that they might be able to do. And even not just world known, but just locally, you never know. Find out what they like to do, and do those talents that you probably don't think is important, but it is. It is, because they were blessed to have that gift. All right, that's all I have for this episode. I want to thank y'all for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, share this video with your friends. I'll see you next time.